Hey people, welcome back to the channel. This is a story in which Naruto is Madara's and Hashirama's grandson and is very OP and smart. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Leave a comment if you want to suggest a fanfic for me to read. Check the description for credits and support the creator of the story. So let's begin. Chapter 16. Preliminaries. Team 8 was walking towards their assigned rooms. Since they completed the second task of the Chunin exams in one day, they could relax and recover during the 4 available days. Naruto-kun, Hinata said, getting Naruto's attention, if I had to fight Gaara, do you think I could win? She asked. They continued walking and Naruto was thinking. After a few minutes he decided to reply. I don't really know what he can do, but when we met him, he had sand around him and apparently he is the son of the 4th Kazekage, so he probably can control sand with his chakra. Since you are a water type, you can drench his sand in water to make it slower and more chakra demanding to use, forcing him to waste more chakra. But if he decides to use his Biju, then I think you would lose, unless you do that trick I taught you, he said, grinning. I guess you're right, she replied. Shino just heard the conversation with interest. This year there was a lot of tough competition. His bugs wouldn't much against a Biju, since primarily he uses them to drain the enemy's chakra, and draining a Biju might take a while. They arrived to their room and found it a standard room. It had 3 single beds, a small bathroom, a small desk with chairs and a window. Do you think you will be able to sleep without me? Naruto said, grinning. Oh, I'm not sleeping without you, she said, walking towards him. If you hold me close enough, I think we will be just fine, she replied and kissed him. I like the idea, he said, smiling and holding her. Want to go eat something? He asked and she nodded. Hey Shino, want to come? He asked and the bug boy simply nodded. They finished unpacking and left their stuff in the room. Team 8 got out of the room and walked through the hall, heading towards the other floors. The tower in the middle of the Death Forest was relatively small. It had 5 floors. The first was reception in the arena, the second was the kitchen, the third and fourth floors were the rooms and bathrooms, and the last floor was the administrative and surveillance room. They made their way down the floors and quickly found the kitchen. There was plenty of food already prepared due to the Chunin exams. They entered the kitchen and noticed that they weren't alone. Inside the kitchen there was the sand team. Hey Gaara, Naruto said, waving as he entered the kitchen. Both Kankuro and Temari instantly stiffened as they knew that Gaara could flip at any time. Hinata and Shino were just a bit weary of them. Uzumaki Naruto, Gaara said, eyeing Naruto carefully. You interest me, he said. Sorry, but I don't swing that way, besides I already have a girlfriend, Naruto said, chuckling and kissing Hinata's cheek. Gaara's eye twitched at his statement. Temari and Kankuro were wondering if all Leaf Shinobas had a death wish. Mother will have your blood and then everyone will acknowledge my existence, Gaara with a sick smile. Mother. You do realize Shukaku is male, right? Naruto asked. And you don't have to kill to have people noticing you, he finished. I doesn't matter, once I kill you I shall forever prove my existence, Gaara said. You want people to acknowledge you, then find people to protect. Instead of killing them, fight to protect them, and those few precious people will acknowledge you forever, Naruto explained. You fight to protect people? Gaara asked. Yes, that is right. Your true strength emerges when you fight to protect those you care about, Naruto said. Fool, we are nothing but murderers. We live to kill. We are weapons, Gaara said. Kankuro and Temari were listening to the conversation and wondering if they should leave because this conversation seemed to be heating up. I never considered myself a weapon, Naruto said. You are a fool and I shall prove it to you. Once I kill you everyone will notice my existence, Gaara said. Fine then. When we meet of the arena I shall prove to you that acknowledgement comes from people that care about you. Naruto said, and he and his team left the room, leaving a thirsty Gaara behind. Hey Haim, I'm going to talk with Anko. I'll meet you later, Naruto said. Alright, see you later, she replied and gave him a quick kiss. Floor 5 surveillance room. Naruto separated from his team and headed towards the 5th floor. He walked towards said room and knocked on the door. He opened it and in the room there was the Hokage, Anko, Ibiki and a few Chunins. Something you need, Naruto-kun? The Hokage asked as he watched the blonde enter the room. Can I talk to you in private with Anko? Naruto asked and the Anko raised an eyebrow, wondering what the kid wanted. Of course, the Hokage replied and made a gesture for everyone to leave the room except Anko. Naruto flashed through a few hand seals and said, "Sound barrier seal." There was a small flash of light and suddenly vanished. Enko was surprised by seeing a genin using these types of seals. But she knew what kind of life Naruto had lived, and if he wanted to survive he would have to pick up his pace. Now then, I would like to check out that curse seal if you don't mind, Naruto said, and Enko involuntarily brought her to her neck. Why do you want to see it? She asked. She didn't like talking about her past. I want to know if I'm capable of removing it, Naruto said, and Enko started laughing. Kid, I'll give you that you are strong, but this seal can't be removed, Enko regretfully said. Any seal can be broken, Naruto said. Have faith, besides it doesn't hurt to try. Come on Enko, you don't know, but Naruto is a seal master, the Hokage said. Enko raised an eyebrow and watched him carefully. You are telling me this kid is a seal master? The only one in the leaf is Jiraiya of the Sannin, and even he already tried, Enko said. Yes, he's telling you the truth. He already provided our village with a few seals of his own. Improve exploding tags, remotely detonated tags, and his own creation flash tags, the Hokage explained. Enko still had her doubts. I'll make a bet with you. If I can't remove it, I'll pay you an all you can eat at the dango shop. However, if I can remove it, you do the same for me in the ramen stand, he said, grinning. Fine, Enko said, sighing, and removed her coat so Naruto could more easily have access to her curse mark. Naruto activated his Sharingan to perfectly memorize the seal. He placed his fingers on the curse mark and channeled a bit of chakra. He noticed the mark slightly glow and made Enko slightly wince. It must be tuned to Orochimaru's chakra signature, Naruto thought. Enko, I need you to activate the curse seal please, Naruto said, and stayed watching her chakra network carefully with his Sharingan to notice the changes. Fine, she replied. Enko channeled chakra to her curse seal and it began spreading across her whole body. Black markings were originating from the seal and spreading across her skin, reaching the whole body. Naruto watched carefully with his Sharingan, analyzing every small change. Interesting, Naruto said and closed his eyes. What do you think, Kurama? Can we force your chakra into the seal to break it? Naruto asked. Forcing my chakra would destroy the curse seal but would most likely badly poison her. She wouldn't survive without a very good medic around, Kurama replied. Naruto opened his eyes and saw both of them staring at him. I was talking to the furball about it, Naruto said. You can talk to it? Enko asked. Yes, but is not an it's a him, Naruto replied seriously. Anyway, I could force the Kyuubi's chakra to it and destroy it, but it would poison you. It would require Ba-chan herself to be able to stabilize you long enough to remove it, Naruto explained. Ba-chan? Enko asked. My grandmother Tsunade, Naruto replied. Holy shit, you are her grandson. Enko half yelled. Tsunade was a legend among all of Kunoichi. She was what every Kunoichi wanted to be. Strong and beautiful and with the right, assets. Yes, but keep it to yourself. Now I noticed that the seal, besides leaking chakra, it also sends a few chemicals to the bloodstream, most likely to create addiction and increasing the body's stamina and strength. Either way, I would need Ba-chan to remove it, either using the Kyuubi or not, Naruto said, and he could see the frown on her face. Tsunade had left the village years ago. There is one thing I can do, be right back, Naruto said and vanished in a yellow flash. The Hokage's and Enko's eyes widened. They hadn't seen that flash in over 14 years. Was that? Enko stuttered. The Hokage managed to regain sense and asked, now do you believe me? Enko only managed to dumbly nod. A few minutes later, Naruto reappeared in the room with a large scroll in his hands. Naruto placed the scroll on the ground and opened it to show a very big and complex sealing array. Enko, sit in the middle of the scroll please. Naruto said and got a look of confusion. He sighed and continued. I may not be able to remove the seal alone, but I can place a restriction and block seal that will permanently lock away the seal. Basically, you would have to force chakra to the seal to activate it and you will no longer have the constant pain, Naruto explained, and Enko quickly sat in the scroll. Alright, let's do it, Enko said, getting ready for the constant pain to leave her. It may hurt a little bit while the seal is applied, Naruto said. I'm used to pain, Enko said. Okay, Naruto walked up to Enko and placed his hand in her curse mark. A few seconds later, kanji erupted from his hands and spread across Enko and the scroll. Ready? Naruto asked and she nodded. Fuja Hoin evil sealing method, Naruto said, and in an instant all the kanji began rushing towards his hand that was placed in her curse seal. Enko bit her lip in pain but she could handle it. After a few minutes all the kanji reached the curse seal and formed a ring around the curse seal as if locking it. Naruto removed his hand and Enko relaxed. We are done. How do you feel? Naruto asked. A second later Enko was all over him kissing and pressing her body against his much to the jealousy of the old Hokage who had a trickle of blood flowing in his nose. Okay Enko, I have a girlfriend you know, Naruto rhetorically asked. Don't worry kid. Besides it was my way to say thank you. Even though it's still here it no longer hurts, I can barely feel it on my neck. Enko said happy. Don't mention it. Naruto started, hey Gigi, do you think you could bring Sasuke here for me to do the same to him? Naruto asked. The Hokage nodded and said, Bore. Immediately in front of him appeared an Anbu and kneeling before him. Hi Hokage-sama, the Anbu said. Bring me Uchiha Sasuke, the Hokage ordered and the Anbu left. Naruto turned to the Hokage. Do you think he will accept to have it blocked? Naruto asked. Why wouldn't he? The Hokage said raising an eyebrow. You do realize he intends to kill his brother right? Naruto asked and the Hokage nodded. And do you think he will gladly forget this power? Naruto asked. I see your point but I have faith he will do the right choice, the old Hokage said. He's naive. All Uchihas. Must burn, Kurama said chuckling evilly. What the hell Kurama, I have Uchiha blood, Naruto screaming. You and your father are different. You are not power-hungry fools and you are not arrogant, well, except when you are in the middle of battles, Kurama said, I only say that stuff to piss the enemy off. If he gets angry he will make mistakes I will capitalize on, Naruto replied. They waited for a few minutes until the Anbu appeared in the room followed by a pissed-off Sasuke who, by the looks of it, just woke up from his Neji's-induced sleep. What do you want? Sasuke said glaring at Naruto. We need you to sit in the middle of the scroll to seal your curse mark, Naruto answered. Why would I want to do that? I need this power, Sasuke said. Idiot. You would be willing to be used as a puppet so that you could kill your brother. Naruto asked. Shut up. You don't know anything and I would gladly give my life if it meant to kill him, Sasuke said and Naruto just shook his head. Fine. Sit in the scroll anyway. Since for now it's impossible to remove the curse seal safely without killing the host, I'm applying a suppression seal that allows for the host to have better control over the seal. Naruto explained and Sasuke smirked. You shouldn't use it. I can see that the host tends to develop an addiction to its power. Naruto explained and Sasuke simply shrugged it off. It was a gift and I intend to use it, Sasuke said and Naruto shook his head. This might hurt a little, Naruto said but didn't mind much. He did the same steps as for Enko and placed his hand on his curse seal. Fuja Hoin evil sealing method, Naruto said. Sasuke screamed for a few minutes and when it was completed he fell to the floor unconscious. Bore, take him to him room. He must be exhausted from the forest of death, the Hokage said and the Anbu took off. See you guys in 4 days, Naruto said and left the room followed by a very happy Enko. You would be so proud of your son Minato, Kushina, the Hokage thought as he also left the room. He had preparations to do for the finals. Number 4 days later the next 4 days went by without any trouble and they were boring as hell. They weren't allowed to leave the tower until the end of second phase of the Chunin exams. During these 4 days a few more teams arrived to the tower. As he expected the team from Taki and Kumo also arrived. Every competitor was summoned to the arena and filled it facing the Hokage. The arena room was pretty much empty. The room had a giant statue with a shinobi doing the ram hand seal. There were 2 balconies, one in each side of the room for the spectators. Behind the statue was a big electric board. First I must congratulate you all for passing the second round of the Chunin exams, the Hokage said and a few smirked thinking they were the best. Now the Hokage started but was interrupted by another shinobi. Do you mind if I continue Hokage-sama? Said shinobi asked and the Hokage shook his head. My name is Gecko Hayate and I'm the proctor of this part of Chunin exams, Hayate said. He had short brown hair and dark markings under his eyes. Even though he was a young man, he had pronounced lines under his eyes as well as an unexplained chronic cough that plagued him. He wore the standard Konoha shinobi outfit complete with a forehead protector that he wore as a bandana, flak jacket and regular shinobi sandals. He also carried a katana with a rectangular hand guard strapped over his back. Before we can proceed we will need to have preliminary matches, Hayate said, and the genins erupted in protest. What do you mean by preliminary matches? Kiba asked. We didn't expect this many people to pass the exam, so we have to thin out the contestants. During the third phase of the exam many nobles will assist the matches and their time is precious to not be unnecessarily wasted. Hayate explained and a few were against it. Why should we risk our lives for this? Someone yelled. I think you misunderstand the meaning of the Chunin exams, the Hokage said, and everyone turned to face him. The Chunin exams are used to promote promising genins to Chunin, however there is somewhat of an underlying objective. The Chunin exams are a substitute for war and to prove that the country that is competing is strong. The strength of a village is the strength of their shinobi, and the strength of their shinobi only flourishes in life and death battles, the Hokage explained. By having shinobi compete in the Chunin exams the country can prove their strength, which will award them a higher number of missions bringing more wealth to the village, the Hokage concluded. Before we begin, is there anyone who wishes to forfeit? Hayate asked and no one stepped forward. Very well, we shall begin now. The match ends by either knockout, death or impairment. If I declare the winner the match ends immediately, understood? Hayate said, eyeing them seriously, and everyone nodded. The names will appear on that electric board randomly, Hayate explained as the board started shuffling through names. Since we have an odd number of contestants, one of you will advance immediately to the third round of the Chunin exams. Hayate explained as the board went random names. Sabaku no Konkuro will have a free pass, Hayate said. Lucky. I can go to the finals without showing my skills, Konkuro thought. The board started going through new names until it stopped. Will Uchiha Sasuke and Ren Izumi step forward? The rest of you please go to the balconies, Hayate explained, and everyone left the arena except Sasuke and Izumi, who were staring at each other. In the balcony, go Sasuke-kun, Sakura yelled, cheering for her Uchiha. Might as well see if I learn anything, Naruto said, activating his Sharingan, and proceeded to analyze the matches. Uchiha Sasuke vs Ren Izumi fighters ready? Hayate asked and both nodded. Hajime, Hayate said and jumped back. As soon Hayate started the match, Sasuke rushed towards the enemy, went for a low kick. As Sasuke expected, Izumi jumped up and Sasuke took this opportunity to quickly continue his rotation and placing a kick his Izumi's stomach, making him fly to the ground. Give up, you are no match for the Uchihas, Sasuke smugly said. Izumi slowly got up and cleaned his lip that got busted when he crashed into the ground. Izumi, angered by being bested in that little skirmish, quickly made hand seals and said, Doden, earth spikes, slamming his hands on the ground. The ground in front of Izumi rose slightly and threw a few rock spikes at Sasuke with moderate speed. Sasuke quickly dodged all of them and yelled, Kaden, Hosenka no Jutsu, Phoenix Fire Technique, and sent multiple small fireballs towards the enemy. Izumi didn't have the skill to dodge them all and took one to his left leg and another to his shoulder, leaving him in the ground slightly burned and in pain. Winner. Uchiha Sasuke. Medics, Hayate said, and Sasuke smugly smirked and made his way up to the balcony near his team while medics went to heal Izumi. Didn't even need Sharingan, Sasuke thought. Congratulations Sasuke-kun, Sakura said with stars in her eyes as she watched her beloved Sasuke-kun making his way up the stairs. At least the only fangirls that are here are Ino and Sakura, Naruto said, and got glares from both Ino and Sakura. You know Naruto-kun, I'm a fangirl, she said, and Naruto rose an eyebrow. You are? Kurenai asked. Of course. I'm Naruto's fangirl. Cough cough, Hinata started and cleared her voice. Squeal, oh Naruto-kun is so cool, will you go out with me? She asked with stars in her eyes and her best puppy dog face. I can't say no to you, Haim, Naruto said, laughing, and kissed her. Kurenai just sweat dropped and Kakashi chuckled at their antics. Ah, I seriously need a boyfriend, Ino said with stars in her eyes, watching both of them. Congratulations Sasuke, Kakashi said. Sasuke grunted, making Sakura squeal in delight. They watched the board go another set of random names. Haruno Sakura and Yamanaka Ino, please step into the arena to begin your match, Hayate said. Like canon not even going to bother with this due to both contestants being unconscious. I declare this match a tie, Hayate said. Fangirls, Yugito started, the disgrace of the kunoichi. If they spent more time training instead of drooling over the Uchiha over there they wouldn't be slapping each other. It's just sad, Yugito said and everyone nodded agreeing with her. At least you learned how to properly slap someone, Naruto said and everyone's sweat dropped. Sabaku no Gaara and Miwa Fuji please step into the arena to begin your match, Hayate said and Gaara used his traditional sand shunshin to the arena while his opponent jumped off. Sabaku no Gaara vs Miwa Fuji ready, Hayate asked. Fuji nodded and in Gaara's case Sand left his gourd and started dancing around him. Hajime, the proctor said and jumped away. He could sense the rise in Gaara's bloodlust. Sand shuriken, Gaara immediately said and sent 10 shurikens he made with his sand towards the enemy. Fuji didn't expect such a sudden attack and made a very risky evasion maneuver by ducking to the ground. Fuji was rising when he noticed his feet were caught in something. He looked down and saw sand wrapped around his feet and quickly rising. Fuji tried to struggle to get free but it seemed the more he struggled the quicker it wrapped around him. Not even 5 seconds later Fuji was completely covered in sand. Sand coffin, Gaara said as he brought his open hand up. He suddenly closed his hand and said, Sand funeral. Gaara closed his hand into a fist and immediately the sand around Fuji compressed completely crushing him. Fuji exploded in a shower of blood that covered almost all the arena. Winner. Sabaku no Gaara, Hayate said a little disgusted as someone could kill this easily even more in a tournament. Hek killed him, Sakura said as she had awakened up just in time to see the bloody end. Fu murmured to herself. Even though, in her village, only Shibuki liked her she still wouldn't want to kill anyone or wish their death for that fact. That Tanuki always wanted destruction. He still is insane, Kurama said to Naruto. I guess I need to defeat him if we face off to prove my point, Naruto replied. Uzumaki, you will be mine, Gaara almost yelled pointing to our favorite blonde standing in the balcony. I already told you I don't swing that way, Naruto said and that phrase pissed Gaara off as she shot a wave of sand towards him. Naruto watched the sand came to him and before anyone could react, the sand wrapped around him and immediately crushed him. Naruto, Kakashi yelled and watched his little brother getting crushed to death. Gaara smiled as he finally got this precious blood offering to her mother. He quickly removed his sand to show an untouched Uzumaki Naruto. Did you do something? Naruto asked. The reactions were very different. Kakashi sighed in relief. Temari and Kankuro had their jaws on the floor as they saw the blonde unhurt. Yugito stared at the blonde. Suspiciously, to her he was truly an enigma. Naruto made a quick sealess shunshin and landed right in front of Gaara. He proceeded to plant a very firm kick in his stomach and sent him flying to the wall. The sand wasn't quick enough to protect and everyone could see small cracks appears in his skin. He hit Gaara, Kankuro said flagger-basted. He never saw his brother get hit for that fact and yet this blonde kid just appears in front of him and gives him a kick like it was nothing. So you do have another defensive sand layer, Naruto said as he watched Gaara get up and the cracks disappear. Enough, the voice of the Hokage roared through the room instantly putting everyone in attention. Naruto stand down and you, the Hokage said pointing to Baki the sand team Jonin, control your students or we will discipline them for you. Apologies Hokage-sama, Baki said bowing to the Hokage. That Gaara almost ruined everything. A.N. Tenten vs Temari Cannon Style, Hyuga Neji and Akamichi Choji please step into the arena to begin your match, Hayate said and Choji got kinda scared but nonetheless they both made their way down. Hajime, Hayate said. As soon as the proctor started the match Neji activated his Byakugan and charged at Choji. Choji panicked and started a sloppy Nikuden Sensha, human bullet tank. Choji started spinning and going with good speed against Neji. Neji watched him approach and quickly made a plan. Neji dodged to the side and placed his foot in front of Choji's path. This action made Choji bump into his foot and rise into the air quickly losing his stance and ending the technique and allowing Neji to give him a few good Juken strikes that left him unconscious on the ground. Winner. Hyuga Neji, Hayate said. It was his fate to lose to me, Neji smugly said. Neji walked up the stair and was congratulated by Tenten. He didn't know it but she had a crush on him, but even with his superior eyesight he was too blind to see it. Hyuga Hinata vs Karui of Kumo, please step into the arena to begin your match, Hayate said. Hinata was leaving when Naruto pulled her back and gave her a small kiss on the cheek. For luck, he said, and she smiled. I know you don't like Kumo, but don't go overboard, Naruto whispered to her here, and she nodded. Hyuga Hinata vs Karui of Kumo ready? Hayate asked, and seeing both nod he said, Hajime. My lucky day, I get to face a Hyuga, Karui said, and got a confused look from Hinata. What I mean is that the Hyugas specialize too much on taijutsu. If I keep my distance you can't do anything. I wonder why our former Raikage wanted your bloodline so much, Karui said. Hinata frowned. You know, I was the one that was kidnapped that day, she said, and Karui raised an eyebrow. So that means that you are the heiress. My lucky day, I get to kick your ass and prove that the Hyugas are worthless, Karui said, smirking. Hinata chuckled sadly. I'm no longer the heiress or a Hyuga for that matter, Hinata replied. I don't understand, Karui said. What I meant is that I no longer belong to the Hyuga clan. My father deemed too weak to be the heiress of the clan, so he branded me with the cage bird seal and disavowed me from the clan, Hinata explained, and a few on the stands gasped. Balcony that's cruel, to leave your daughter because she's weak, Ino said. She wondered what would happen if that happened to her. Kurenai seethed her teeth. When she found out, she wanted nothing more than strangle that Hiashi. To do that to his own family, no wonder he sent his own brother to his death. Hyuga Hinata vs Karui of Kumo Karui didn't say anything. She never knew that the Hyugas would be so cold and uncaring. She heard about that they were arrogant and stoic, but this was a new low. In the end I should be grateful to you, Hinata started, and seeing Karui's confused look she continued. If you didn't kidnap me, Naruto-kun wouldn't have saved me, and maybe my father would never have expelled me. The last few years I've spent with Naruto-kun were my happiest time. My father never showed love or compassion of any sort, so I guess in the end everything worked out for the best, Hinata concluded, showing a small yet true smile. Naruto-kun, you mean that blonde kid? Karui asked, pointing to our favorite blonde watching in the balcony. Why are you calling me kid? We are the same age, Naruto stated from the balcony. Yes, he was the one that found me when I was being kidnapped and managed to hold off and eventually defeat my kidnapper, Hinata said, and Karui's eye widened. But you were 6 years old. How can a 6-year-old child kill a Jonin? Karui asked in shock. Everyone who heard took a while to assimilate and turned to face the blonde. Naruto sighed and answered, that is what happens when people underestimate me. Even though I was 6 years old I already was genin level and I am very sneaky. He underestimated me and paid the price. Naruto explained and the audience slowly nodded. Hinata smiled, remembering all the fun they had since she started living with him. Teaching him proper manner at the table, smacking him with a pillow so he could wake up, hiding his ramen, helping him with his pranks, training with him, watching the night skies and sunsets with him, living with him, sleeping next to him and kissing him. You did mention that if you kept your distance from the Hyugas it would be fine, but with me that doesn't apply. I can assure you that I am a master at the Juken, but I didn't stick with only that, as I will show you now, Hinata said and dropped to the basic Juken stance. Ready? Hinata asked and Karui nodded and picked up her sword from her back. Hinata channeled chakra to her wrist seal and in a poof of smoke there was in her hand a 20 inches long single-edged straight sword. The blade's hilt was lavender with white lines around the edges. So you know Kenjutsu, Karui said and dashed towards her. Karui jumped and did a vertical slash only to Hinata block with her own sword. Hinata jumped back and did a few hand seals and shouted, Sweeten, Tepudama, water bullet. Hinata sent a few compressed water bullets at high speed towards Karui. Karui skillfully evaded all of them and watched as they collided with the wall and removed a good chunk of it. Karui gulped. If that had hit her it would have broken a few bones. Karui once again rushed forward and said, Cloud style. Deception slice, and made a slash motion with her sword. Hinata easily blocked, but Karui turned to smoke, revealing a wooden log. Hinata activated her Byakugan just in time to block a lateral swing from Karui's sword and jumped back, gaining a bit of distance from Karui. Hinata knew that she didn't stand a chance with Kenjutsu. She preferred to daggers to swords. Daggers were easier to integrate with her taijutsu style and allowed for more swift motions without leaving so many openings. Hinata channeled wind chakra to her sword and quickly closed the distance. Karui brought her sword to block. Wrong move as Hinata made a few quick slashes and destroyed Karui's sword, leaving it in pieces on the ground and Karui holding the hilt. What did you do? Karui asked, getting pissed off. That was her favorite sword. After a few skirmishes I can tell that you are better at kenjutsu than me, so I had to take care of that. I channeled wind chakra to my sword and destroyed yours, Hinata explained and once again ran through hand seals and said. Suiten, Sushoha, exploding water wave. Hinata expelled great amounts of water to the arena, completely flooding the grounds. Balcony not possible. That's an A-rank water jutsu. How can she have enough chakra for that? Kakashi asked out loud and turned to Kurenai. What have you been teaching them? He asked. Kurenai simply smirked. I didn't teach them anything, all credits go for Naruto, Kurenai said, and Kakashi turned to Naruto. I told you I've been training since I was 5 years old. Hinata joined me when she was 7. The dead last and the shy girl was all a cover. Deception is a ninja's greatest tool, Naruto said, and everyone turned their attention to the arena. Hyuga Hinata vs Karui of Kumo Raiden, Kangekiha, lightning style. Emotion wave, Karui said and channeled Raiden chakra through her hands and released it through the water to shock Hinata. Hinata saw this and jumped up to break her connection with the water. She went through hand seals and said, Futen, Datapa, great breakthrough, and sent a gust of wave that disrupted the lightning attack and made Karui lose her balance. Hinata took this opportunity and quickly went through new hand seals and shouted her favorite water technique, Suiten, Suiryuden no Jutsu, Water Dragon. A water dragon rose from the water in the ground and quickly crashed into Karui, who didn't have time to dodge. Karui was sent crashing into the wall and hit with the pressure of the water dragon. Karui was a little dazed from the impact and slowly got up, but Hinata quickly appeared next to her and said, Suiten, Suiro no Jutsu, Water Prison. A chunk of water rose and quickly formed a sphere that trapped Karui inside and rendered her unable to move. Hayate was shocked. The amount of skill the girl displayed with water jutsu was Jonin level. He managed to break free from his stutter and said, Winner, Hyuga Hinata. Balcony she won, Naruto chanted as he watched everyone on the balcony except his team stare in shock as Hinata made her way up the stairs. Even the Hokage was shocked at the skill she showed. Kakashi broke free from his own shock. He blinked, and blinked again. Kakashi approached Neji. See, can you check her chakra levels? He asked, stuttering. Neji activated his Byakugan and froze to what he saw. That's impossible. She has elite Jonin chakra levels. How is that even possible? She is a genin and nothing but a failure, Neji said. If she is a failure, I wonder what a genius could do, Kakashi mused. Naruto quickly hugged Hinata and spinned her around. Congratulations, Haim, Naruto said, making her giggle. You are nothing but a failure. To rely on ninjutsu only proves you weren't meant for the Byakugan, Neji coldly stated. Then if we face in the finals, I'll show you my Juken, Hinata said. Omoi from Kumo vs Fu from Taki, please step into the arena to begin your match, Hayate called out. Omoi from Kumo vs Fu from Taki ready, Hayate asked and both nodded. Hajime, Hayate called out and immediately jumped back. Fu quickly went through a few hand seals and said, Mizu no Muchi, water whip. Fu took advantage of the existing water and quickly made 4 water whips that grabbed Omoi's arms and legs and pinned him in the spot. Fu approached him from behind and placed a kunai at his neck. Yield, Fu said. Omoi tried to struggle to find a way to free himself from this binds, but they wouldn't budge. I surrender, Omoi said. Winner, Fu of Taki, Hayate said. Balcony that was anticlimactic, Asuma said as he watched Omoi return to the balcony with his head low. To be caught off guard and defeated with a single jutsu, it was a shame. Man, those things are really tight. They wouldn't budge, Omoi said while sucking on his lollipop and shaking his head in disappointment. What affinity do you have? Naruto asked. Like most people in Kumo, I have lightning. Why? Omoi asked. You could have channeled lightning chakra trough the whips, and since they are water they would most likely have weakened enough for you to perform a substitution, Naruto explained, and Omoi face palmed. How come I didn't think of that? Omoi asked and Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Niyugido vs Aburame Shino, please come to the arena to begin the match, Hayate called out. Good luck Shino, Naruto said and Hinata nodded. Thank you, but is unlikely I will win, Shino stoically said, heading down to the arena. Well, he's excited, Asuma said. Aburame Shino vs Niyugido ready, Hayate asked and both nodded. Hajime, Hayate said and jumped back. Immediately as Hayate said start, Yugido jumped into action and quickly closed the distance between her and Shino. Yugido jumped in the air and performed a drop kick. Shino brought both his arms up in AX formation and blocked the kick. Shino quickly grabbed her leg and spinning threw her at the wall. Yugido twisted mid-air and landed gracefully in the wall like a cat would. Balcony looks like Shino's taijutsu skill is increased, Kakashi said surprised. Since Naruto and Hinata were more advanced, it gave me more time to focus on Shino. Also, his main weakness, as most long-range users, is taijutsu, so we tried to get him a defensive type taijutsu style, Kurenai explained and Kakashi nodded. Go Shino, kick her ass, Naruto yelled. Kurenai just shook her head. Naruto could defeat her in a spar and yet he still had a childish behavior. Aburame Shino vs Niyugido Yugido dropped from the wall and into the ground and crouched in all four like a cat getting ready to pounce on the victim. Shino eyed her very carefully and started releasing his bugs. Yugido saw the bugs heading towards her and shouted, Kaden, Hosenka no Jutsu, Phoenix Fire Technique. Multiple fireballs crashed into Shino's bugs and engulfed them in flames. Yugido smirked but quickly dropped her smile when she noticed that the bugs were still coming as if nothing happened to them. How did you do that? Yugido asked. My main weakness is fire since it can easily destroy my bugs, so I coated them with water chakra to protect them, Shino stoically explained. I guess I have to turn up the heat, Yugido said smirking. Let's go Nibi, Yugido said to her partner. Right kitten, Nibi replied. Kaden. Aogukaku no Jutsu, blue fireball technique, Yugido yelled and unleashed a big blue fireball towards Shino. This fireball engulfed the bugs and immediately turned them to dust. The fireball continued its path towards Shino. Doten, Doryuaheki, earth wall, Shino said, and a small earth wall rose in front of him to protect him. The fireball collided to the earth wall and slowly but surely began to apply pressure. The wall didn't stand a chance with a Biju-powered fireball and began to crack until he collapsed. Shino saw the wall starting to crack and immediately jumped away. Yugido expected such, so she was there to greet with a fierce punch to his face. Yugido punched him but he transformed into bugs. Bug clone, Yugido thought as the clone she punched began to surround her. Yugido channeled Nibi's chakra and one by one each of the bugs began to fall on the ground killed by the Biju's extremely poisonous chakra. I surrender, she destroyed one of my hives and I'm low on chakra. It would be illogical to proceed, Shino breathing heavily. Winner by forfeit ni Yugido, Hayate said. Balcony you did good Shino, Kurenai said and he nodded. Yeah, it would be very hard to win against someone like her, Naruto said. What's so special about her? Sasuke asked but it felt more like a demand. Let's just say she's the number 2, Naruto said smirking and Sasuke was about to jump him when Kakashi caught his shoulder. The Hokage heard that and already suspected as much. That means that with her there are 5 Jinchurikis here, the Hokage thought. Nara Shikamaru vs Inuzuka Kiba, please come to the arena, Hayate called. Yeah, the lazy ass. We have this one on the bag, Kiba cheered and he picked up Akamaru and ran to the arena. Nara Shikamaru vs Inuzuka Kiba ready, Hayate asked. That's right we are, Kiba yelled. Troublesome, I guess I am, Shikamaru replied. Hajime, Hayate said and jumped back. This is so troublesome. I'm no match for Kiba's speed or strength, Shikamaru thought as he analyzed Kiba and came up with a plan for defeat him. Kiba immediately said, Ninpu, Shikyaku no Jutsu, 4 legs technique. We could see as Kiba crouched to the ground in all fours. His nails became more elongated as his fangs and his eyes took a more feral grin with vertical slits. Kiba ran forward with impressive speed and Shikamaru, the lazy ass he is, decided to run and avoid very single strike Kiba tried. This continued for a few minutes until Kiba got tired and jumped back gaining some distance. Fight back lazy ass, Kiba yelled, get pissed off that he didn't hit him one single time. I'm fighting back, troublesome, Shikamaru said inside. Shikamaru went through his pockets and took a smoke bomb. He threw it at Kiba, and the entire arena where Kiba was became covered in smoke. Inside the smoke cloud, Kiba was quickly turning and checking every position to find out what exactly Shikamaru was trying to do. He checked left, right, up and his left. Kiba was getting tired of this and about to jump away when he froze, unable to move. As the smoke cleared, Kiba could see Shikamaru crouching with his hands in the rat seal. What did you do? Kiba asked as he struggled to move. Kiba could see from the corner of his eye that Akamaru was also frozen in the same place. Kajime no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique, success, Shikamaru said. In the beginning of the match when you engaged me in taijutsu, I placed a few small bells in you. When I threw the smoke bomb, I blocked your vision of me so you couldn't see what I was doing. Since you had the bells, I could easily find you in the middle of the smoke and connected my shadow to yours, preventing you from moving, Shikamaru explained. Forfeit, Shikamaru said. Fine, I surrender, Kiba said, angry how it turned out. Winner by forfeit. Nara Shikamaru, Hayate said. Balcony who thought the lazy ass could come up with that, Sakura smugly said. Asuma laughed. You know, I gave him an IQ test and he scored 220. The kid's genius and never got good scores in the academy because he was always too bored to do more, Asuma said, chuckling to the shock of many. Just slight above you, Hinata whispered to Naruto. Asuma overheard what Hinata said. What do you mean slightly above him? Asuma asked. Exactly that. Naruto did an IQ test like everyone, however in the academy he scored less than 50, which would mean severe lack of cognitive functions. However, we tested each other at home and he scored 210 inches, Hinata explained, and everyone jaw hit the floor. How can the dead last have such high IQ? Asuma asked. The same way Shikamaru, who was almost the dead last, has as well, Naruto said, chuckling. But I'm not the only one. My Haim here also scored 200 points, Naruto said and laughed at their faces. The dead last and the shy girl were genius. This never gets old, Naruto thought. How wonder what more did you hide? Asuma asked him and he shrugged his shoulders. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee, please step into the arena for the match, Hayate called out. Looks like we are up, Lee. I want to test my Dragon Fist against your Goken, Strong Fist, so how about I only use Taijutsu no Bloodline even? Naruto asked. That's the most youthfull thing someone has ever said to me. I agree. Let's show them the power of youth, Lee yelled, making everyone wince at the tone. Such a youthfull opponent, you should make him your eternal rival, Guy yelled. Yes, Guy Sensei, Lee said. Lee, Guy Sensei, Lee, Guy Sensei. Both master and student were hugging each other in the beach as the water came rushing between them and crashing into the rocks. Tears could be seen shining as the sun was going down. Kai, Naruto yelled. Kurama help, he pleaded to his partner. It doesn't work. What sort of genjutsu is this? Kurama said as he ran to the back of his seal and closed his eyes with his tails. Wait. Sakura yelled, making Naruto turn back as he was already going down to the arena. You have a bloodline? Sakura asked. Yes, I do, Naruto said and discarded any more question as he turned to leave again. How can a clanless and orphan loser like you a bloodline? Sasuke smugly asked. Naruto clenched his fist, shaking in anger. He almost channeled the Kyuubi's chakra, but Kurama managed to hold it. Naruto managed to calm down. You know, Sasuke. One day you will eat all those words. You are not as special as you think. Besides, people say that my bloodline is the strongest in the world, Naruto said. Please, Dobi. The Sharingan is the most powerful bloodline in the world, Sasuke said, smirking. If you say so, Naruto said, laughing as he made his way down the stairs. People who knew he had the Sharingan chuckled at his wordplay. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee Ready? Hayate asked and both nodded. Final match of the preliminaries, Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee. Hajime, Hayate said and jumped back. We are both genius of hard word, Lee. Let's show them the power of taijutsu, Naruto said and got into his stance. Left leg in front of the right with both knees bent, left arm stretched with the hand palm facing the enemy while the right arm was coiled near the waist with a fist. Lee had a more simple stance. He was standing straight with his left arm behind his back and his right arm pointing to the enemy with a straight palm. Balcony. Strange, Guy mused. Never seen that particular stance before. Guy thought out loud, nursing his chin while he thought. That stance belongs to the taijutsu style of his father with a few modifications that Naruto integrated in there. Hinata said. I thought Naruto was an orphan, Sakura asked. He is, but his father left him scrolls with his jutsus, Hinata explained. Who was his father? Sakura asked. It isn't my place to tell, Hinata replied, and Sakura frowned. Must be some unknown chunin who got drunk and died in some mission, Sasuke said, and Kakashi was about to snap his neck for disrespecting his sensei. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee As Hayate said start, Rock Lee immediately started running to Naruto. He closed the distance in no time. Lee jumped and said, Konoha Senpu, Leaf Whirlwind, and tried to kick him. Naruto brought his right arm and blocked the kick. Lee jumped back and Naruto immediately regretted blocking that as his arm felt a little numb. As Lee touched the ground, he went again at high speeds towards Naruto and both engaged in a fierce display of taijutsu. Due to the fact that Naruto could use chakra to empower his muscles, he had a slight advantage in speed in short bursts that were perfect for his quick counters. The battle went on until Lee quickly got in past his defenses. Lee crouched beneath Naruto and said, Konoha Shufu, Leaf Rising Wind. Lee tried an uppercut with his feet at Naruto, but he managed to roll and dodge it. As Naruto was rolling, he tried to sweep Lee's legs only to make him jump back and evade it as well. As soon as Lee touched the ground, he disappeared in a burst of speed. Naruto looked around until he felt Lee above. He looked up just in time to block a powerful drop kick with both arms. Naruto quickly grabbed his leg and threw Lee at the ground. Lee spinned and landed without trouble at the ground. Your taijutsu is very good, Naruto-kun, as expected from my eternal rival, Lee said with tears in his eyes. Naruto shuddered and replied, sure Lee, eternal rivals. Naruto knew he might have signed his death sentence right there, but this match was extremely good. Hinata was a very good sparring partner at taijutsu, but she always used her gentle fist style. Naruto never faced a user of Goken. Even thought Naruto had the advantage in speed. He sometimes managed to get in a punch or kick, but Lee seemed to brush them off as nothing more than a little scratch. But this difference in speed was almost removed by Lee's experience in taijutsu, putting them equals in skill. This time Naruto took charge and ran towards Lee. Naruto threw a sloppy punch that Lee easily sidestepped, but that was what Naruto wanted. As soon as Lee sidestepped his punch, Naruto threw his hands to the ground to support himself and used his legs to snare Lee's head between his feet. Naruto with a swift motion of his ankles threw Lee at a wall, who didn't see that coming and was unable to block. Balcony. Impressive, Guy shocked with that particular movement that managed to firmly give Lee some damage. Naruto's taijutsu style incorporates a lot of acrobatic movements. He could have snapped Lee's neck with that one, Hinata explained, and Guy eyes widened. Thank God his student was alive. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee. I didn't expect such a technique from you, Naruto-kun, Lee said as he got up and brushed off the dust. Lee, take them off, Guy yelled from the balcony. Lee heard what his sensei said and was surprised. But I thought you could only remove them if it was to protect someone important to you, Lee said. It is, but this time I'm giving permission to remove them, Guy said. Lee heard this and smiled. He sat down in the ground and removed the weights he was wearing beneath his orange leg warmers. So he uses weights. I knew this wasn't his full power, Naruto thought, and considered removing his seals, but he would wait and see if it was necessary. Balcony. Just removing a bit of weight won't do anything, Sakura said. She watched Lee removed his weights and dropped them in the ground and caused a crash that shook the entire arena. Sakura's eyes widened at the weight he had. Wasn't that a little bit too much, Guy? Kakashi asked, and Guy scoffed. How can he even stand with so much weight? Yugito yelled. What was with these leaf ninjas, were they all crazy? Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee. Yosh, now I can move freely. Lee said, and Naruto lost track of Lee. Naruto didn't even manage to blink as Lee appeared right in front of him and delivered a powerful punch straight to his face that sent Naruto tumbling to the ground. Naruto slowly got up as Lee appeared next to him and kicked him in the stomach and sent him crashing to the wall. Naruto slowly got up as Lee appeared next to him. Lee crouched and kicked him into the air. Before Naruto could process the situation, he was already in the air. He blinked just in time to see Lee give a drop kick and send him to the ground, crashing into the cement floor hard. The floor cracked from the pressure and release a cloud of dust. Balcony that is some speed, Kakashi said. Unbelievable. I didn't even see anything, Sakura said. Why can't my Sharingan track that speed? He's nothing more than a blur, Sasuke thought as he seethed his teeth. Looks like Naruto is done, Asuma said as he smoked his cigar. I wouldn't be so sure, Kurenai replied with a knowing grin and got confused faces from Kakashi and Asuma. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee. Naruto slowly got up and removed a few rocks that were nearby from the crater he caused. He dusted himself off and saw his ruined jacket. You know I like this jacket, Naruto said, and everyone's sweat dropped as he remained so calm when he just got plummeted to the earth. Naruto raised his right hand and made a half-tiger seal and said, "Gravity seals Kai." His whole body slowly glowed and dimmed down. You aren't the only one who trains with weights, Lee, although I prefer resistance seals, Naruto said as he flexed his muscles to get used to his new speed. Naruto ran with blinding speeds towards Lee. Lee didn't have time to do anything as Naruto took a page from Lee's book, punched him straight in the face and sent him to the ground. Balcony fast, Kakashi said. Looks like you were right, Kurenai. He also had weights on, Kakashi said, and Kurenai nodded. But I didn't see him removing weights, Kakashi-sensei, Ino asked. Naruto wasn't physical weights. He was using what it's called gravity seals. These seals were invented by the Yondaime Hokage and basically they restrain the body's movement, making you put more strength to move, Kakashi explained, and Ino nodded. I want those seals, Sasuke demanded. Sorry, but I can't give you. They can only be applied by someone very well versed in seals and they are very dangerous to anyone who doesn't know seals. If you don't know how to properly use them, you may not be able to deactivate them during a battle, giving the opponent a big advantage, Kakashi explained with a serious tone. Then how can that Dobi use them? Sasuke asked as he saw Naruto get leaps ahead of him. That power should be his. Apparently he's very good with seals and a seal master, Kakashi said, much to the surprise of everyone. But I thought you needed to very smart to learn that, Sakura asked. Then I guess that Hinata was saying the truth about his IQ, Kakashi said, chuckling. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee. They both engaged in a vicious taijutsu battle. To anyone below Jonin they were nothing but blurs at such speeds. The power and speed that was behind those attacks was enough to completely shatter anyone bone it hit the opponent. Every single punch or kick they gave, the opponent blocked it and sent a shock wave towards the whole arena. Lee disappeared in a burst of speed and quickly appeared behind Naruto and threw a punch. Naruto caught the punch with both hands and brought Lee in front of him and placed a kick in his stomach. Lee simply shrugged it off. As I expected. I'm faster but you have more strength, Naruto said. So it is, Lee said as he regained his balance and untangled his ligatures in both arms. Lee disappeared and quickly appeared next to Naruto and kneed him in the stomach. Naruto doubled over and Lee kicked him into the air. Naruto was in mid-air when Lee appeared next to him and tapped his back. Lee's ligatures quickly left his arms and wrapped around Naruto. Lee picked Naruto and both started spinning very fast and going in fast to the ground. Omit Renge, front lotus. This is going to hurt, Naruto thought as he was spinning and heading head first to ground with high speeds. Boom. A massive shock wave was heard through the whole room as Lee sent Naruto to the ground, making a big crater. Much bigger than the one that was previously there. Lee was on the side as he watched the dust cloud settle and saw Naruto lying on the ground. Oh, Naruto barely said as he got up from the crater and got shocked faces from everyone. That hurt like hell. I'm already regretting not using my bloodline, he said as he got up and flexed his neck and dusted off his clothes. How can you stand up after that? Lee asked as he was starting to get tired. That move was forbidden by his sensei due to toll it takes on his muscles. I channeled chakra to my body to strengthen him and lessen the impact, but even so it hurt like hell, Naruto said as he got ready to continue the onslaught. It's about time to show you the true power of my taijutsu style, Naruto said. Lee didn't want to give him time to recover and quickly ran towards him and said, Konoha Senpu, Leaf Whirlwind. Naruto already knew this move and took the opportunity. He saw the kick approaching and elbowed Lee's leg. Lee toppled over in pain and nursed his leg. I'm sorry Lee, but my true taijutsu style is meant to target weakened pressure points along the human body. I didn't put enough pressure to break the bones. Please surrender, I do not want to hurt you, Naruto said. I cannot give up. Guy-sensei, forgive me, but I must do this. Lee said and rose up. He brought his arms in front of his chest in an X form. Naruto watched as his veins started to show beneath his skins and his skin started to become redder. Naruto's eyes widened when he realized what Lee was about to do. Lee, you can't open them, this is getting out of hand, Naruto said. I cannot give up, for this is my Nindo way, Lee said. Kaiman, gate of opening Kai, Lee said as his veins started getting more defined under his skin. Kaiyuman, gate of healing Kai, Lee said and his started turning red. Simon, gate of life Kai, Lee said and a green aura could be seen forming around his body. Shumon, gate of pain Kai, Lee said. Toman, gate of closing Kai, Lee said and the air around him began to swirl around him due to massive amounts of chakra he was realizing. Balcony you taught him how to open the gates. Kakashi said. Are you insane? He asked. I don't want to hear this from you. He can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu. Taijutsu is the only thing he has. Guy replied. I can see the chakra around his body. This is amazing, Sakura said as she watched in wonder the power that was radiating from Lee. I want you to teach me this, Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke said. Never. The gates are extremely dangerous. There are 8 gates in the human body. If you open them all you temporarily gain a boost of strength that can surpass a cage, but then you die, Kakashi explained. Lee is using them. Then that means is going to die. Sasuke asked. You die if you open the 8th and last gate. However, if your body isn't strong enough to handle the strain of lower gates you can easily die as well. This is why it is a very dangerous technique, Kakashi explained and Sasuke huffed. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee you truly are amazing Lee. But I can't lose here as well and I promised only taijutsu which only leaves me, this is my last trump card. Kaimon, Kyuumon, Seimon, Shoman, Toman Kai. Naruto said and exploded with chakra. Balcony WHAAATTT. Kakashi yelled as he watched Naruto so easily open 5 gates. How can he open the gates as well? He is crazy. Kakashi said. Kurenai. Kakashi started. Did you teach him this? Kakashi asked in a dangerous voice. No, I didn't even know he could do this, Kurenai said just as surprised. Relax, Hinata. Started and got the attention of everyone. He knows what he's doing. Anyone can open the gates as long they know where they are situated in the human body. I can open them as well. I can go up to 4. Hinata said and everyone stared at her in shock. Kakashi gulped and revealed his Sharingan to see the battle that was about to ensure. How many gates can he open? Kakashi asked. Hinata smirked and shouted, Naruto go full power. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee Naruto laughed at the enthusiasm Hinata was showing and decided to show them. Kurama, get ready. I'm going full strength, Naruto said smirking. Honestly, you have no restraint, Kurama replied. Kaiman, joy of gate Kumon, gate of shock Kai, Naruto said and he was surrounded by a blue aura. Balcony 7 gates, Kakashi said barely standing. Sakura, Ino and most of the weaker genins were on the ground. The amount of power Naruto was unleashing was pushing the air from everyone. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee Shimon, gate of death Kai, Naruto said and everyone's eyes widened. Naruto's muscles bulged out completely, ripping off his mesh armor and shirt he had, leaving his torso naked. Naruto started walking towards Lee. Every step he took the ground beneath him cracked. His eyes were completely blue and his skin was red. His was sweating heavily and that gave him a blue aura around. His hair was flowing in the air and lightly glowing. Balcony he opened the last gate, Kakashi said as he fell to his knees. Don't worry, Hinata said calmly and everyone stared at her. There are 5 people in the whole world who can open all gates and live and Naruto is one of them, Hinata concluded. Why you mean he can open the last gate and live? Guy asked and she nodded. Guy gulped and turned his attention to the arena. This was a moment of a lifetime. To be able to witness all 8 gates opened. Uzumaki Naruto vs Rock Lee ready Lee. Naruto asked. His voice took a deeper tone due to all the open gates. Lee gulped and slowly nodded, not really wanting to see just what was going to happen to him. Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed that not even the Hokage could follow. Not even Kakashi's Sharingan managed to follow him. Lee looked around when suddenly felt crippling pain in his stomach. He looked down and saw Naruto with his fist embedded in his chest. Lee was sent flying. Before he could hit anything, Naruto appeared beneath him and kneed him in the back and sent him into the air. Naruto disappeared once again and appeared above Lee in the air. Naruto punched Lee with such strength that sent a shockwave throughout the whole arena. Anyone watching had to secure themselves with chakra to stand. Lee was about to go crashing into the ground when Naruto pulled him back by his arm's ligatures and gave him a drop kick to the chest and sent crashing into the ground. When Lee smashed, the whole building shacked and the arena was blown to bits. The Hokage and Jonins that were watching had to leave, otherwise they would receive the full power of the blast wave. Naruto dropped to the ground and kneeled. Even thought he could survive opening all the gates, it took a very large toll in his body. Hayate approached Lee to see if he was even in one piece. He approached him and touched his neck and felt a weak pulse from him. Winner by knockout. Uzumaki Naruto, Hayate said, stuttering. He snapped from his shocks and yelled, medics. Balcony no one said anything to the amount of power they just displayed. They wondered how even Lee managed to survive such brutal strikes. They saw Naruto slowly walking up to them. They noticed he was breathing heavily. So that's the power of the 8th gate, Guy said as he ran towards his fallen student. Are you okay, Naruto? Kakashi asked. Naruto sunk to the ground and leaned against the wall. Yeah, I just need a little bit of sleep and I'll be back up in no time, he replied. You aren't human, Yugito said as she approached Naruto. Funny because if it weren't for the furball I would have died, Naruto said, chuckling to the shock of many and confusion of the others. You probably wouldn't survive. Anyone below the 5th wouldn't survive opening the last gate. I don't like opening's gate because I have better options, but I promise Lee a taijutsu only battle. I won't be able to move properly today, Naruto said. Do you know any of them? Sasuke smugly asked, trying to get as much information as he could. Well, of the 5 people that can survive there are 3 in here. There's me, Killer B, Naruto said, pointing towards the Kumo's team Jonin. And there is Fu, Naruto concluded, pointing to Fu, the member of the Taki team. Why are they so special? Sasuke asked and everyone tensed. Not my place to tell, Sasuke, Naruto replied and got to his feet. Sasuke scowled. The blonde contestants gather up, Hayate said, and everyone who passed was now standing in front of Hayate. Is Lee alright? Naruto asked. Well, according to the medics, his muscles are shredded, he has a few broken bones, a dislocated shoulder and a concussion. Hayate replied and everyone stared at Naruto, who was starting to feel bad for what he did. Don't worry. He will need to be in bed for 3 weeks before he can walk again, but he will be just fine, Hayate said, and Naruto sighed in relief. The finals for this year Chunin's exam will be held in main arena in 1 month time. Here it is, the tournament grid. Take a good look, Hayate said and showed them the paper. Hyuga Hinata vs Hyuga Neji, Fu vs Ni Yugito, Sabaku no Tamari vs Nara Shikamaru, Uzumaki Naruto vs Uchiha Sasuke, Sabaku no Gaara vs Sabaku no Kankuro. Looks like I will be able to show you the true power of the Sharingan, Sasuke smirked towards Naruto. Naruto laughed and Sasuke got pissed. What's so funny? Sasuke asked. I'll give it to you. The Sharingan is an amazing tool, but that alone isn't enough, Naruto explained. You will never know the true power of the Sharingan and I will show it to you in the finals, Sasuke said, smirking. I guess we will test whose bloodline is more developed, Naruto said, smirking. Everyone who was in the room just watched and began considering that Sasuke had a death wish. Bloodline or not, the amount of power Naruto unleashed here was enough to even give Kakashi or Guy a run for their money. I guess we also face each other, cousin. I will show you what a failure you are, Neji said to Hinata with his traditional arrogant grin. Maybe, but I will not give up, Hinata said, smiling. Okay, contestants, you may leave the room. See you all in 1 month. Naruto, stay behind, I want to talk to you, the Hokage said, and he nodded. Hash hash with the Hokage hash hash. Congratulations Naruto-kun, although you pulled a dangerous move, the Hokage said in a serious tone. I know. I would never use the gates since I have better options, but I wanted to give to Lee a taijutsu battle, Naruto explained, and the Hokage nodded. What do you plan to do during this free month? The Hokage asked. Train, of course. Why do you ask? Naruto asked. Well, since both you and Hinata passed and Kurenai can only train one person effectively, I thought I would mention that your godfather arrived yesterday to the village, the Hokage said and watched Naruto reaction. My godfather. Who is he? Naruto asked, wondering who did his father choose. My student Jiraiya and one of teammates of your grandmother, the Hokage replied and watched Naruto's jaw hit the floor. You mean the Jiraiya of the Sannin? Naruto asked, getting ready to chase a man for training. The one and only, the Hokage replied, laughing. He should be in the hot springs. Naruto didn't think much of it and quickly left to the hot springs to meet his godfather. His godfather was the Jiraiya of Legendary 3. He should really be able to teach him all sort of powerful techniques and be very strong and serious person. Right.